Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. Coming up, we head to Hornsea to take a look at its seawall with the difference. We visit a pole fitness centre in Hull to find out why it's good for you. And we visit a men's shed in Hull. And we ask your opinions about the new leader of the Labour Party. Welcome to Estuary News. I'm Emma Lingard, but first here's the news headlines. A 13-year-old boy who helped in the rescue of his father has been praised for his bravery. Ewan Bryson was out mountain biking with his father Simon when the 51-year-old suffered multiple injuries after coming off his bike near Market Raisin. He was airlifted to hospital where he remained for several weeks. 1 week before the crash, Ewan had done emergency training with the Scouts and has since received an award for his bravery.
I just calmed him down, tried to support him, because I remember Scouts telling us a few weeks before, just keep them calm, make sure that you're there, and show your face. So that's exactly what I was doing.
A company which assists young enterprising projects in Hull has won an award. The John Cracknell Youth Enterprise Programme picked up a national award for encouraging youngsters to be enterprising. And there'll be more on both stories in next week's news. When people think of pole dancing, they'll most often think of lap dancing clubs and the sex industry. But the rise of pole fitness is aiming to counteract that image. While the sport has only recently become more mainstream, the Pole for Fitness studio in Hull has been open for over a decade. So we went along to learn more about pole fitness and how attitudes to it have changed.
Pole fitness is a sport that's gaining increasing popularity, with world championships taking place every year and aspirations of becoming an Olympic sport. In Hull, however, this is far from a recent trend, as Claire Bennett opened her pole fitness studio over a decade ago.
One of probably England's first purpose-built studios. I started off with a couple of poles in the gym, and within 6 weeks we had 4 up, and within 6 months we were able to open a studio up and do it full time. And in the early days I employed 2 staff as well as myself, and very quickly it became like the thing to do. Everybody wanted to come pole dancing. The
success hasn't always been easy to come by. Despite pole fitness focusing on skilled exercise, many people still confuse it with pole or lap dancing. In turn, this has led to pole fitness being associated with sleaze and the sex industry, something which Claire says has become clearer but still needs to be emphasised.
In the early days it was very difficult because what people wanted to do is they wanted to come pole dancing, but there was still that is it a bit seedy, is it linked to the sex industry? And what would happen is people would come and they'd hide on the corner and they wouldn't tell their friends, and then when I opened the door to go into the studio they'd come running in quick so nobody saw them. And that's really hard to promote a business when people don't want to tell people that they're coming. And I used to have friends that would come and then their friends would go out the back door while they came in the front door because they didn't want anybody to know. So in the early days it was quite difficult to sort of get through to people that what we were doing was a legitimate form of exercise. But now the industry's moved on so much, everybody understands that pole dancing and what happens in, say, a lap dancing club is totally different. And we empower women and men now as well through strength, flexibility and improving self-esteem and confidence.
The stigma is continuing to disappear, partly spurred on by more men beginning to take up the sport.
There are now quite a few men in the industry who are very, very good at what they do, and they're leaders in the industry as well. There are a few men out there who are leading the way to show the men what to do. There's still the stigma that it's for ladies only. That will always probably take a long time for that to disappear, because it's a very feminine style of dance in some of them as well. But what you've found is with the influence from, say, Chinese pole and a lot of the circus stuff now, some of the tricks are becoming very much more strength-based, and some of the tricks only the men can do, are very, very strong. Very few of the women can actually get those tricks out.
Claire says it's easy to knock something like pole fitness, but it's important not to knock it until you try it.
I think just come and try it. I think you don't know if it's for you until you get here. And I've got lots of people who, in the early days, came in really definitely not thinking that they ever wanted to do this. And suddenly, they're 5 years down the line, 6 years down the line, they're doing amazing things. They're doing competitions, they're doing shows, and they've made new friends, and it's become a part of their life that they never dreamt would be there for them. And
You're watching Estuary News. Still to come, we head to Waltham and an art day to raise funds for the local hospice. And we head to Hornsey to take a look at its seawall with a difference. And we ask your opinions about the new leader of the Labour Party. It's a few months now since we visited Louth's Men's Shed, a project to combat social isolation in the town, which was originally founded in Australia. It's designed to allow usually older men to share skills, pursue hobbies and provide a sense of achievement while relaxing and sharing a good old-fashioned cuppa. Well, now they're popping up around the country, and Dan Kemp has been along to Hull to hear about how they're progressing to finally have a men's shed of their own.
The impending arrival of Hull's Men's Shed is an exciting one for the men of the city, but it also has some serious objectives. Barry Cooper is the chair of the project in Hull.
It's about making life better for men in Hull area who are potentially being unwell, unemployed, want to get back into work, volunteer, do some work for themselves.
Men will not join groups like women do to talk, just to go and meet. They will go and work shoulder to shoulder with somebody, and then they'll talk to people. And it gives them an opportunity to talk about themselves.
The lease is soon to be signed to allow the men to move into the new site in the city, but Barry says it'll need some refurbishing before it's ready. The group are also in need of volunteers to make sure they can hit the ground running.
The Men's Shed in Hull was set up by the trustees, I'm one of the trustees, for the local community to take ownership of that, so that although we're the trustees, we would like people to come along and volunteer to take, because we've got dual roles at the moment, we're chairman, secretary and so on, and also trustees.
It's hoped that different volunteers will offer different skills. Paul is one man getting involved.
I have 2 diplomas in IT, so I share my skills for people who are as advanced on computers. Like you get your Silver Surfer clubs, like sort of thing like that. So people from just who don't know how to use it to be able to use emailing and Facebook and Twitter and everything else. So.
And it's about getting men in difficult social situations a way out and providing them with a focus.
It is important for men to have their own space, because at the end of the day they need to get away from domestic situations. They may be themselves just come into a situation where a family or wife has passed over, and they need to get away from the public house, the betting shop, the pizza delivery or what have you.
I think it's a good idea. It gets people out who can't get out. It's encouraging people from various ages to come and share the stories or help in various events it offers, really.
And if you have a news story you'd like the team to cover, then contact us via our social media pages or call 01472 315 553, or alternatively send an email to news@estuary.tv. Now, joining me to talk about the news from the week is Dan Kemp. Dan, what has been happening?
Yeah,
You've got some breaking news, haven't you?
Yes, the first story is from Hull City Council, and this is their appeal against the SMC, which is owned by the Alam family, of course, also in Hull City. The SMC owned by the Alams, and it's been leased. Their Echo Arena has been leased from Hull City Council, as it has been since it was built at the same time as the KC Stadium back in 2001.
Yeah.
It's been obviously been in the news quite a lot over the last year or so with regard to Hull City's academy, which is going to move in, or was planned to be moving into the arena.
Okay. They've
since put a 3G pitch, which of course is in a building still owned by someone else at the end of the day, and the Hull City Council who own it have taken it to court, and they've said the decision's come out today, and they've said they're disappointed with what the court said, and this is that Hull City were within their rights to do it, even though it's not their premises.
Okay.
And the council have said this morning the facility remains an important part of the city's community sports provision, reflecting, of course, the reason why the council originally invested in it. And they're offering to continue to work with the club and the SMC to try and find a long-term solution, which is something they've been saying all along.
Yes.
And I think the Alam family had been, anyway, previously sort of unwilling to talk on it.
Okay, so getting more controversial news, isn't it?
Yes.
What else?
This is a story from the
happened?
Grimsby Telegraph today, and this is that police have sealed off a street in Cleethorpes after a shooting incident.
Okay.
Sounds very serious. No one's been injured though, but inquiries are ongoing. It happened down Bentley Street in Cleethorpes around 12:30 this morning.
Okay.
12:30 a.m. And the resources were deployed to undertake the searches in the area following the address in Beacon Avenue, which was discovered with a damaged window as a
Okay.
result of a gunshot.
Not good. Got 30 seconds. You have to be quick.
Yeah, the final story then is that a German TV crew has been travelling to Beverley. They've been around Beverley's red light district, which
And we're
isn't
talking traffic
quite-
lights.
isn't quite as I first made it sound. It's been dubbed a crazy junction by the German newspaper Bild, and the TV station Pro Sieben have been travelling around because there's up to 20 different traffic
Sets
directions
of
and
lights.
lights that people can use. So they find
Very
it very fascinating.
extravagant for the company to come over, but there you go, thank you. Right, join me after the break when we head to Hornsey to look at the seawall with a difference, and we find out Grimbarian's views on the new leader of the Labour Party. Welcome back, you're watching Estuary News. Still to come, we head to Waltham and an art day to raise funds for the local hospice. And we head to Hornsey to take a look at its seawall with a difference. In the light of Jeremy Corbyn being elected Labour's new leader, the MP for Islington North has been described by some media outlets as the man who will bring an end to the world, and by others as Comrade Corbyn. With Grimsby being a true Labour heartland, we went to ask Grimbarians if they think Corbyn is a credible leader, and this is what they had to say.
Disgusting. Absolutely. Well, he'll never ever get in. Labour's finished altogether now.
It looks like being a change, doesn't it, from what we've had. You don't know my thoughts on this. I think he's a ruddy idiot. Although the one thing I do like about him, having a joined up railway.
He hates the Queen. He loves the IRA. Such things as that. You know, it's terrible.
I just think I think it'll be unelectable.
It could be a good thing due to all the austerity we've had all these years. I think it might pave the way for solidarity between all the unions, and because in Grimsby we're on TV programmes as skint. We're like very deprived in this area, and any more cuts can have detrimental effects.
Well, you watch with all the strikes and everything now. You'd be backing all of that. Anything that's wrong, he'll back you.
It was outside, wasn't it? 200 to 1 last year. That's for a good reason. He's not very good at all. He's rubbish.
Ted Ford is a passionate fundraiser for local charities. In the past, he's undertaken events such as open gardens and now plans to sell some of his own art creations. And he says it's his years in the construction industry which helped him find his love of art. His passion for St Andrew's Hospice comes from the time he spent fundraising and volunteering there. We went along to meet him.
Ted Ford is a passionate fundraiser for local children's charities. In the past, he's undertaken events such as open gardens and now plans to sell off some of his own art creations. Ted says his years in the construction industry helped him find his love of art.
The amount of production that you do, and this is in a similar vein, I would imagine, and using your imagination. I don't know how much skill there is in it, but it's the desire to do it as much as anything, I would imagine.
Ted's passion for St Andrew's Hospice comes from all the time he has spent fundraising and volunteering for the charity.
I worked for the charity of the hospice since way back in 1982, when through the associated architecture with Gordon Walkley Smith. He was the chief architect in those days, and we built what is now the beaches, the bedrooms and sluice rooms with lift shaft and all that on that particular building. And I was so taken by the, how would you say, the courage, I suppose, of the people who attended, you know, and their plight of, you know, it's a shocking problem is cancer.
Ted's message is for everyone to get involved in any way possible to help a charity that's extremely close to his heart and has an extremely good cause.
It's a worthwhile charity, and I, you know, implore anybody to get involved, even if it's only by the big fish. You know, get some of the lottery tickets for the big fish. It all helps the hospice funds.
The Holderness Coast is the fastest eroding coastline in Northern Europe, and we often hear about sections of cliff falling into the sea. To stop this happening, towns like Withensea and Bridlington have had seawalls built. In the 90s, Hornsea had one put up, but now it's beginning to look tired, and a group of residents have come up with an idea to smarten them up. Dan Kemp went along to take a look.
It was built to protect Hornsea from the sea, but the wall needs revitalising. That's according to the Let's Go Hornsea Regeneration Group.
When I'm walking along here, because I walk my dogs here quite often, I can't see the sea because the wall becomes so high, you can't see it. And the wall is very drab, so we thought, let's jazz it up a bit and make it look good.
The team have devised a competition for people to send in pieces of art to have added to the seawall.
When we started, we didn't know if we were going to get sort of 6 or 60. I think we got well over 70 in the end of the first group of pictures. Out of those, 17 were chosen that we thought would be suitable to be able to be put onto the wall. Unfortunately, we had problems trying to get funding for this, and we tried various different grants, but in the end we got local sponsorship to start off with the first 7 to launch it. But we still have obviously a lot of other pictures now to try and find the money to get up on the wall. The big long one that's 5 panels was done by Alex Dyer, who's a local artist. And the others are mostly local. There's 1 or 2 from perhaps Hull, and some of them from people that actually stay in the caravan sites in Hornsea.
And where did the idea come from?
It stemmed from myself going to Barcelona and seeing some hoardings around a regeneration site that had been put up, and it was fabulous. It was colours everywhere, and I was taking pictures of them, and I'm thinking that's so strange to go to Barcelona and take pictures of hoardings. Why not do it over here, so people can put it on Facebook and social media sites and advertise Hornsea, as well as something nice to look at.
East Riding of Yorkshire Councillor for Hornsea and Town Mayor John Whittle is encouraging more entrants and is delighted with the efforts so far of local artists who have submitted works.
I think it's brilliant. It just shows the amount of talent we have in the town. It shows how much faith and belief, if you like, they have in the setting that they live in, and how much they've thought about it. I mean, to produce items of art like that isn't just a question of sitting down with a piece of paper, it's a question of thinking about what they're doing and making what they produce relevant to the town they live in, what Hornsea is all about, the visitors to the town, and the area of the wall itself that the artwork is going to be on.
It's all part of a wider project to develop Hornsea's South Promenade. It's hoped in time projects like this will help to develop the areas of the seafront not explored as much by tourists.
We value our seawall, obviously without that we'd all be inundated, but we felt that it'd be nice to brighten it up a little, make it look more attractive, and encourage people to walk down this section of the promenade so they can go down to, say, the boating compound down there and appreciate the greenery around them.
Still with me is Dan Kemp, bringing all the sporting action.
Thank you very much. Grimsby Town return to action tonight following their last gasp draw at Chester on Tuesday. The Mariners host Tranmere Rovers at Blundell Park, still looking for their first clean sheet of the season. Elsewhere, Hull City are at home to QPR tomorrow. Manager Steve Bruce is only too aware of the threat posed by one-time Tigers target Charlie Austin, the Championship's joint top scorer, and you can hear from both Steve Bruce and Paul Hurst in a moment. Scunthorpe United midfielder Jamie Ness is a doubt for the Irons game against Rochdale with suspected calf injury. And finally, North Ferriby United travel to Telford. Back on Hull City, and manager Steve Bruce has been speaking to the press this morning. Here's what he had to say about the possibility of sticking with the 3-5-2 system that proved successful against Cardiff on Tuesday.
It served us well. It served us well over the years, the 3 years since I've been here. With what we've got in the team and what we've got in the squad, it allows me to play 2 strikers. It allows me to play 3 midfield players. So the system suits us of the players we've got.
Meanwhile, Bruce has also denied today any link with former City striker Fraser Campbell.
Nothing at all on that, and I'm very, very pleased with what we've got up front. Of course, we've got Diamande coming back, who we just paid some money for, and the emergence of Greg Lua, who's got a couple of goals in the cups, has dispelled any rumour that. I don't know where that's come from, but certainly not true.
It's also been confirmed that Sean Maloney has returned to training and could yet be involved tomorrow. Grimsby boss Paul Hurst says he wants his strikers to offer more defensively for his side. Padre Gamon and Omar Bogle already have 13 goals between them, but he feels they need to help their side to keep their first clean sheet.
They often just look at doing their jobs first and foremost, and ideally they would like to score 3 and 4, and to say they don't care is probably not quite right, but they're more interested in them scoring goals. But as I said, clean sheets aren't just about the keeper and the back four, it's a team effort, and maybe on a couple of occasions that's led to goals, by not doing his jobs further up the pitch.
Hull FC pair Jack Logan and Kirk Yeaman have both signed new deals with the club today. Logan has broken through into the first team this season and has penned a 4-year deal, while Yeaman has extended for a further 12 months. The Black and Whites host Huddersfield tonight starting at 8 o'clock, while Hull Kingston Rovers are also in action. They start 15 minutes earlier away to the Sheffield Eagles. And that's all for now. Don't forget to get in contact with any sports stories you have for us. You can call 01472 31 553, and that's all your sports news.
That's it for tonight. Get in touch with us the usual ways. Details are on the screen. Good night.
I want to see Grimsby put on the map.
Extraordinary qualities, unmatched in anywhere else in Britain.
We need to act with one voice.
I was absolutely shocked, I'll tell you the truth.
More police officer hours spent on patrol preventing crimes from happening.
Estuary TV weather, sponsored by Grimsby Institute for a brighter future.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Saturday mainly dry with some sunny spells, a few isolated showers in the afternoon and highs of 17 degrees. Sunday much of the same as Saturday.
Estuary TV weather, sponsored by Grimsby Institute for a brighter future.